Hello and welcome to this episode of Creating with Howcraft. My name is Denise Yezbak Moore with howcraftcollection.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create my Radiate bracelet. The tools and supplies you will need to create this bracelet are wire cutters, round nose pliers to fray the ends, chain nose pliers in case we have to adjust our jump ring. You will need some type of glue. I'm going to be using GS Hypo Cement to dab the little knots. If you like the look of this frayed end, you will need some type of wire brush. The beads featured in this project, we're going to be using freshwater pearls, and these pearls have really big holes. If you've been looking for freshwater pearls with big holes, be sure to stop by howcraftcollection.com. We will also be using Czech glass fire polished beads. The sizes are 12 millimeter. These are 8 millimeter and these are 10 millimeter. They are light peach with half coat and crystal with pink AB on the 8 millimeter beads. These little gold tone rondelle beads. You will need a collapsible needle. It opens wide so we can string our cording. And we will be using 52 inches of this peach nylon monocord 0.12 millimeter. A complete list of the jewelry making supplies and beads along with printable PDF instructions can be found on howcraftcollection.com. Search Radiate Bracelet. We are starting off by cutting a 52-inch length of the peach nylon cording, and I'm grabbing my collapsible needle and I'm stringing the cording through. Let me find the other end. And we're just going to move that needle to the center of the cording. So this side of the cording does not have the needle. And we're going to come in and we are going to form an overhand knot, and I'm just pulling that knot tight. I just strung a gold rondelle, the freshwater pearl, the smaller size, and a gold rondelle down to the end of that knot. And now we are going to form an overhand knot. And I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to move that knot down, and then I'm going to squish it down with my fingernail, open up the cording, and pull it tight. So let's trim off those little ends. And we're going to come back in with our round nose pliers and we are going to fray the ends of the cording. So we're just kind of going through and we're going to fray that end, come over to this side. That one was a little bit easier. So we frayed the ends. This is where my wire brush comes in handy. We're just going to kind of go through and we're going to brush it. I'm going to fray this one a little more so that it will brush out. Brush it, and it kind of looks like a little tassel. Now I'm grabbing my 8 millimeter jump ring. I'm going to pass that jump ring down right about there. And we are going to form another overhand knot. And I'm just going to move that knot down. And I'm pulling that knot tight. Then I'm going to come back around and I'm going to pull it tight, separate the strands. And pull it tight. At this point, I suggest dabbing your knot with a little bit of GS Hypo cement. Now I'm grabbing another 10mm Czech glass fire polish bead, and I just move that down. It's butted right up against the previous knot. And we're gonna come over and I'm holding that bead with my fingers and I'm moving that knot down, separating the strands, pulling it tight. We will be putting 5 of the 10mm beads on. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to do the next 3 to save time. Here are the 5 Czech glass 10mm beads strung onto the cording. Our next step is to grab one of the gold rondelles, the freshwater pearl, and the gold rondelle. We're going to slide that down so it's right up against there. And these smaller beads, when you're forming your knot, can be a little tricky. So we're holding it, and I'm just moving that knot down, making sure it's not wrapping around the rondelle. So let's pull this one. We're going to bring it down. And I'm going to pull that nice and tight. And our bracelet is starting to form. Moving on to our 12mm Czech glass beads. We're going to string that down. Come back in, and we're going to form our overhand knot, and we're just moving that knot down, separating the strands, pulling it tight. Here's our second Czech glass 12mm bead. We're going to form another overhand knot. I'm holding the bead and I am just moving that knot down. We're separating the strands and pulling it tight. We are going to put 2, 4, 6, 7 of these beads. So I'm going to pause the video here while I complete the 7 knots. I just added all 7 of the 12mm Czech glass beads. So now we are going to add our lobster clasp. So we're going to string that down, and we are going to come around, and I'm kind of holding that lobster clasp right there, and I'm going to pull that nice and tight. Just to be on the safe side, let's do one more knot. And we're just kind of going right around those other knots, pulling it nice and tight, separating the strands, pulling it tight, and you would want to dab some GS Hypo Cement on that knot. We're going to come in and we're going to cut that little end so that our needle is still on one end. And we're going to come over and we're going to form an overhand knot, and we're just moving that knot down. Grab our needle, pick up our 8mm Czech glass, bring it down, and we are going to form another overhand knot, and we're just moving that knot down, pulling it tight. And we're going to trim that little end. Let's come over to the second strand. We're going to move that knot down. Pull it nice and tight. I think our end is good, so we'll be able to string this bead. And we're going to string our Czech glass. And we're going to form another overhand knot, and we're just moving that knot down, pull it tight, and trim that little end. And there you have it, how to create my Radiate bracelet. If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe at Howcraft USA. Follow us on Instagram at Howcraft Collection Beads. Be sure to visit howcraftcollection.com for more inspirational DIY projects and for all your jewelry making needs. New beads are added weekly, and each week howcraftcollection.com features an amazing new sale. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.